Okay, how's everybody doing? Yeah,
Good. We're all doing
good.
great.
Fantastic. Well, so I was thinking about what we should talk about today, and we had sort of an interesting situation come up last week that thought, well, this may be a good conversation to have. The question of, are we closed? There was a period of time, and it was before I started doing this 10 years ago. When I came out in law school, it was already past these times. But there was some of you may remember a time when on a closing for a piece of property, everybody met at the same table, and the seller signed a deed, the buyers brought a check, and then the buyer's attorney took the deed from the seller and then wrote a check to the seller, and all of that happened at the closing table. The attorney for the seller traveled to the buyer's attorney's office, and everybody's sitting around one conference room table. And that obviously that we were a long ways from those days. It's been at least a decade, and at that point, obviously, it was a little easier to determine, are we closed? Well, yeah, sure. The seller walked away holding the check. The buyer's attorney would, drive over to the courthouse that day, drop the deed off, record it. Buyers would leave with the keys. So it's pretty straightforward at that point. Now we have a situation where, modern technology, everybody's busy. We're working on so many more files than they were working on back then. And so documents are signed in separate places with separate people. And it's often that, the seller side is sending documents over to the buyer side for closing. So what does the contract say? Well, paragraph 8 of the RAIN contract says that possession is given at settlement unless otherwise agreed to in writing. So we certainly have situations where you've got early possession for a buyer, or rent back where sellers remain in the property. But typically, and what the default is possessions given at settlement. But it doesn't define settlement. So, well, what is settlement? So we have to go to the code. Code section 55.1-900 states that settlement is the time when the settlement agent has received the duly executed deed, loan funds, loan documents, and other documents and funds required to carry out the terms of the contract between the parties, and the settlement agent reasonably determines that pre-recordation conditions of such contracts have been satisfied. So there's a couple of elements there. We've got settlement being the point when the settlement agent has received the duly executed deed, loan funds, loan documents, and other documents and funds required to carry out the terms of the contract. And so you got multiple parties involved in that, right? You've got the deed, which the seller signs, and the seller's settlement agent is responsible for getting that over to the settlement agent for the transaction. You've got loan funds, which often, unless it's a cash transaction, the loan funds are going to come from the buyer's lender. So that person has to send that over to the settlement agent. Loan documents, of course, also coming from them. And then the other documents and funds required to carry out the terms of the contract. So the buyers come to closing with their money, and they have to come and sign all the documents. So what do we do, on the date of closing, when a buyer comes in and they sign all their documents, they bring their money, but the deed hasn't been delivered? Are we closed? And the answer is no. No, we're not closed. The transaction is complete upon it's the delivery of the deed. So the seller, or there's the seller's agent, their attorney, has to deliver the deed to the settlement agent at closing. And this kind of carries over into, well, when is it appropriate for an agent to turn over keys, right? When do you let the buyer take possession of the property? And when we're on the buyer side, the things I'm always checking on are, one, do we have lender funds? If a buyer's coming into closing and we don't have their money at that point, from either source, either if they're bringing a down payment or if their lender is sending in the funds, either one of those, if we don't have at the point of sitting down and signing at the closing table, we advise the agents that it's not appropriate really they get the keys. And usually, if we know they're coming. So some lenders are, they want to have basically proof that the buyer has already signed their documents. So they've got to come in, sign everything before the lender will even send us the wire. And so in that instance, we let folks know. And nowadays it's a little tougher too, because agents aren't coming to closings as often. But that's something you want to find out is, okay, have the funds been delivered? Has their lender sent us the closing funds? Or if you're on the seller side, that's something you also want to, you can find out from the buyer's agent is, hey, keys should not be delivered or turned over. Possession shouldn't be turned over until they're fully funded. They have all the money. Has a deed been delivered? I mean, that's sometimes we'll run into a situation where we have sellers that are uncomfortable signing. Hey, well, I don't want to sign the deed. They're not closing until Friday. Why would I come today to sign the deed if they're not closing until Friday? So we try to explain to folks that you don't want to be the cause of a delay. So we tend to like sellers to come in a little bit early so that we can, on the day of closing, they have the original deed in hand. And there's no delay in either the closing itself or in the disbursement of funds. If they wait until the closer you get to closing, if the FedEx gets lost or for whatever reason the deed is not delivered to the settlement agent on the date of closing, that could delay the disbursement. Their funds may not be sent out until 48 hours after closing. So that's something we try to make sure is that, okay, you want to have your sellers come in, but when we send over the deed, I explain to folks at the closing table is we send a letter and with the escrow instructions that the deed is to be held in escrow until till all the conditions of closing have been met. So they've signed everything, till all the money's been in the settlement agent's trust account, and they're in a position where they can handle the disbursement of the file. The situation we had was with an out-of-state settlement agent, and the buyers had apparently signed, this is property locally, but a settlement agent up in Maryland was handling the actual closing, the working with the lender, having the deed recorded. And so one reason or another, we had some things that were outstanding, and so when we were on the seller side on that one, and the buyers went ahead and signed with a mobile notary, or they had arrangements here signing locally, got possession, they were moved in, and we found out at that point, when the settlement agent sent us something, or we reached out to them, hey, what's the status on this thing? We haven't seen numbers yet. We didn't have a signed escrow agreement, for some other issues, for some title issues. So this was a huge problem. Here it is, a seller has essentially become a landlord unwillingly. And so it caused all sorts of issues. Nobody was pleased at the way that had turned out over the weekend. Unfortunately, we were able to get it all worked out towards the end, but so the things we have to figure out is, and what's helpful to know is, okay, are we closed? Has all the conditions been met? Has the deed been delivered? Has the buyers brought their funds to closing? I'm still astounded at the number of buyers that will come to closing and they don't have any money. They didn't realize they need to actually go down to the bank and get a check or have somebody send us a wire. That happened just yesterday. So those are kind of the things that came to mind on this. So any questions on that?
I'm just going to check the chat real quick, Austin.
Yeah.
No questions so far there. No. Mm-mm.
Not a question, more of a comment or a statement. I would have never even really thought about that. Something I wouldn't have, I am a new agent, so I would just think that at closing, I wouldn't, now that's something that I will absolutely look out for.
Yeah, I agree with Una. I had no idea. Thanks for informing us.
Yeah, it's become a little bit more of a gray area now with even the recordation of documents. It's all done electronically. So oftentimes settlement agents aren't going down to the courts to even record the deed, drop the deed off, or anything. So, what's delivery at that point? And oftentimes we're trying to find a balance. The way things are done here in Hampton Roads are different than other areas of the Commonwealth. Even I've read that upstate in Northern Virginia, buyers don't even get the keys until the deed's been recorded, right? And so you can imagine how that would look here. Oftentimes disbursement, when the checks come, that's when everything has been recorded. Well, that's usually a couple of days after, your buyers have already moved in. They signed all the documents. So you can see how that would sort of change the timeline on things. But somehow or another here in Hampton Roads, it's the custom has been that, once the settlement agent has everything in hand, once we've already got the money, we've got the signed deed, we've got the seller's authorization on the numbers, even though we haven't dispersed or recorded yet, the custom is that, okay, buyers go ahead and get the keys. And, oftentimes there are quite a few places where, day of closing, we've got no deed. It's coming. We've heard from the seller side, oh yeah, they signed yesterday and we're overnighting it. You should get it today, or you should get it tomorrow, or a seller signing right now, you'll get it tomorrow. So you're kind of in this in-between state of, well, has closing been completed? And I think more practical advice too, if you know you've got buyers that are planning on doing major, ripping out carpet, tearing down walls, doing huge renovations, you'd want to make sure that everything is completed before they start that work. The worst case scenario is they got a contractor in there who starts doing tons of work and the deed's been lost, or a seller dies and doesn't end up signing it it's something crazy like that happening. Obviously that's an awkward spot. So just a little extra, hey, if you can wait a few hours, wait a day, let's make sure that, the settlement agent has everything before taking that step. But that's what I got.
There's two questions in the chat. One, Marina says, if a buyer pays all closing costs prior, what happens? Do they still need money? I don't know if I understand what she's asking.
Is the closing cost beforehand, before closing?
Miranda, can you unmute? I don't think, maybe you just didn't type it out.
Yeah, I
Right.
didn't type it
Okay.
properly. So what I was asking, you were saying that the person will have to bring money to the table at closing. So I'm asking, if they paid all their closing costs prior, do they still need to bring any extra money to the closing table?
Yeah, each transaction is going to be a little bit different. So sometimes there are instances like with VA loans where folks are actually able to actually get money back. They get their earnest money deposit back, or through one of the various loan programs out there, the VHDA Plus Closing Cost Assistance Grant, where they're able to basically have their closing costs covered. And occasionally we'll even see where a seller is still paying closing costs, which is certainly getting rare now. But so if one way or another, or if they've, they've taken care of, they've sold a home, closing I just did with a buyer, she had sold a home and then the funds were already transferred to our office beforehand. So there's many instances where the funds are already sent here, or they don't need funds to close. And certainly in those instances, they wouldn't be required to bring a check. But in any other case, if they've got an FHA where they need to bring 3 or 5% to closing, or a conventional loan where they have to bring 20% down, those cases where they actually have to bring funds to closing, they are responsible. They need to go get a check or have their bank wire us the funds. There are some institutions, Navy Federal for one, I think Navy Federal is probably the only one actually, where if they're getting a Navy Federal loan and they need to bring a down payment to closing, Navy Federal will just go and pull it from the account for them. And they're the only ones I know that'll just take care of it like that without you having to take that affirmative step to have it sent. But yeah, otherwise they need to, if they've got a down payment, if they need to bring money to closing, all that, they need to figure out a way to get it over here.
And then there was another question that said, do you recommend we hold the keys till we have verification? Oh, never mind. Kim said hers was answered because you went through all of that at the end. Okay. All right. Good. That's awesome. Do we have any other questions right now? Okay, Austin, I want you to wait. Someone's waving a finger. Did someone wave a finger?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
I think I saw a finger somewhere. Did somebody wave a finger?
That was her
Yeah.
finger. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I saw a finger, but I couldn't tell where it was. It was like there was a bunch of people on the right. All right. So, Austin, I want you to talk a little bit about. We had a double-sided closing, and we had both sides, but Austin only represented one side, and I was so thankful that he did. But there was a few things that went wrong during the closing process because the other side just didn't have all the correct info and didn't have. The other side closing didn't have, they just weren't very knowledgeable. They didn't have it together. And Austin, I just want you to talk about it a little bit, about what went wrong during that process and what the other side had done that was incorrect and how you kind of stepped in and saved the day. I hate for you to toot your own horn, but I'm going to have you toot your own horn because it was great. And I was so thankful we had Austin during that process. So go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, so that's the actual scenario that kind of prompted this whole thing.
Yeah.
And and again, it was just sort of an out-of-state settlement agent. So I think that was kind of the problem. And then there was the buyer's lender, I think, kind of drove a lot of this sort of misinformation. But yeah, that was, so the buyer side, we had title. So this thing had been going on for a little bit. The closing had been delayed numerous times for various reasons. So we had met with our sellers beforehand and because they were out of state. So we had them sign their documents. We sent everything over to them with an escrow on a deed delivery letter saying that, hey, the funds are not to be released until, sorry about that, phone call coming in. Funds were not to be released until, until they're ready to close. Somehow the lender went ahead and got numbers, got documents and everything sent over to the buyer, and they were able to basically sign here, all without their settlement agent having really any idea about it. They just weren't aware that this lender had done that. They were in certainly no position to go ahead and record and close on their end. And so I think that's where the disconnect was. It was actually between the lender and the settlement agent. And the agent that was representing the buyer, I think also just kind of taking their cues from the lender that was working with the buyer and, thought, okay, well, my buyer has signed everything, so we're closed, right? Everything's good. Well, no, lo and behold, the seller had not agreed. We didn't have numbers yet. We hadn't even seen numbers from the other side. There was a title issue outstanding that we're working on an escrow agreement for. So where the buyer side was going to go ahead and close, holding escrow until this title issue is resolved. We didn't have the escrow agreement resolved yet. We were still going back and forth on who's going to hold the escrow agreement. And that was the situation. So the buyer had supposedly closed. They signed all their documents on Friday and went ahead and moved in. And so our client, the seller, found out, hey, my alarm, they're already in there. Where are we closed? And he's, reaching out to us. And so then we reach out to the other side. She finds out from the lender, hey, no, actually, no, we're not at all closed. Those numbers are not correct. And so that was kind of the situation where we stepped in and said, hey, we let them know, look, yeah, you're not in a position, you don't have our authority to go ahead on this thing. It's not closed. And so she had explained that was kind of the miscommunication. It was the first time she'd worked with that lender before. But and I think a good sort of lesson there is, when you're dealing with an out-of-state settlement company. So they went with the title. Virginia's a title state, meaning you don't have to have an attorney handle your side of the closing. Your title companies can do it. But there's all sorts of issues that could come with that. And, this is a prime example of a situation where you've got a title company in Maryland handling the buyer's closing. And it caused some problems there. So we were able to, fortunately step in and get it all resolved. But yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Yeah.
I bought my house a few months ago, when we were going to do the closing, there was a problem with the trust. So the contract got expired and we did not write an addendum, which I was surprised because, you know, there was no contract at that moment because it was expired. So the lawyer, don't worry about it. You don't need an addendum. All what you have to do is to do a verbal agreement, you know. So the seller and I did a verbal agreement, and more or less that was our word, you know. So in a good faith, they gave me the key for 2 weeks before we did the closing, which it was really nice from them. And they said, you can move into the house, whatever. And I was thinking, do they really know what they are doing? You know, giving me the key and asking me to move into the house until we do the closing. It was really nice from them, but it's really dangerous. Now, my question is, if we do a verbal agreement, is that legal?
Yeah, and I would guess that they knew who you worked with, and the stellar folks over there at Cullen Williams. They said, "Oh yeah, we know these folks are on the game, and that's going to be no problem." But yeah, so definitely, I mean, verbal agreements happen all the time. You know, we'll do a closing even with kind of a handshake deal between the buyers and sellers. The time when you want something down on paper is when somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to do, right? It's the reason we have contracts is unfortunately that, you know, some people are they're not going to do what they said they were going to do, or, you know, maybe there was a just genuine misunderstanding. You know, somebody thought you meant this when in fact they meant that. And so, you know, that's where the contracts come into play, is that we can make sure that everybody is on the same page and that there is a meeting of the minds. Yeah, I mean, that's you know, it's amazing. And whenever I represent sellers, I tell them, hey, I tend to be against buyer possession, you know, early possession. I don't want you trying it before you buy it. But, you know, if we represent the buyer side, absolutely get on in there. And, yeah, it looks like the seller is taking a risk, but they knew you were going to do the right thing. So.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other questions? All right, Austin, thank you so much. As always, thank you. I really appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions, email Austin. Susan's out right now, so you would email Austin your questions. Una, did you email him last night? Did you get your question answered? Yeah, Austin saying yes. Okay. Okay, cool. I knew that you would be able to go over that and see it. And then just email him. It's Austin with an E at jwlpc.com. And then if you have a contract, make sure after you've ratified the contract and put it in brokerment that you email it over to closings@jwlpc.com as well. And I think that's it as far as Austin goes. Austin, I appreciate everything you've done, and everyone here doing a big round of applause.
We love working with you guys.
We love you guys.
Yeah, anytime.
Hey, you know what I noticed when I was over there? Funny thing. So I was looking outside the door and I looked to the right and all these names were there, but mine wasn't. Oh. And then I looked to the left. Oh, wait, it gets better. So then I looked to the left and there was this big empty space. And I thought, right there, real big, like so big it's bigger than the other 7 that are on the right hand side, but it's just food for thought and an observation I made. So I hope you have a great day, and if you ever want
it's on the list. On the list, we're gonna get that done.
I love it. Thanks, Austin.
All right, see y'all.
All right, bye. All right, Carla, you're up next. I'm going to put you in the hot seat here for you to talk to all the agents about how they need to keep me alive and you not killing me. So I would appreciate you getting in the hot seat and telling them all the things they can do in order to keep their team leader alive, because I'm the only one that's around her whenever all this stuff happens and she wants to kill me. So y'all just need to listen to what she has to say just for a minute.
Okay, so back to brokerment, because that's our shared avenue. Dates, prices, show up on our reports. And one of the things that Thomasina and I go back and forth is reports being accurate. And I can spend hours going through and say, Thomasina, everything matches perfectly. And then 2 days later, she says, I pulled the report. It's wrong. So we do change dates to match our system. So sometimes a property might close March 31st, but if I don't get the information and can't close it until after transmittal, I have to change it to April 1st. So anytime we make a change, don't change it back. Secondly, if you change your closing date, you'll notice you're starting to get emails from us and calls. We really need to keep up to date of where our closings are, so that at the end of the month, all of a sudden, I'm not having to tell Thomasina 5 transactions didn't close this month, they're going into the next month, and throw all of our numbers off that she's reporting to Keller Williams International through her coach, and then comes back to me and says, this wasn't right. How do you think I felt?
And she goes,
So, yeah. So when we call and email and say, this had a closing date of April 9th, did it close? When is it closing? We really need that answer. And the minute you know it's not closing on the 9th, now it's closing on the 23rd, I need an addendum submitted giving me that new date. I've found a couple of transactions where the agents just went and changed the date.
Yeah, you can't do that. Then you're really, that's. Yeah.
Do we change it in the ratified contract?
No, when you do
No, she's
addendum,
talking about in brokerment.
in brokerment, if you go in and you change that date, nothing tells me you changed that date. Unless you notify me or you submit an addendum to extend the closing date. That's the only way I'm notified. So then when I pull my reports, I'm telling Thomas, oh yeah, it's closing on the 9th. And you go to brokerment, it says it's closing on the 23rd, or it's now May 15th. So that's real important, and it's become a thing that Thomas and I are trying to work out all the kinks and get our reports to match.
Kara made
more
a good
accurately.
point too. If it's extended because of the 10 days in the contract, which are for 2 reasons. What are they, new agents? Newer agents?
Christy.
Problem with the loan, delay with the loan, or time to leave that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I'm a vodka.
Go ahead, drink that vodka.
There you go.
That is correct. That is correct.
Which is fine.
Yeah, but you just need, if that happens, so this is what Kara was saying, if that happens, make sure you put a note in there that goes to Carla that says, change the date. Date was extended to blah, 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 due to what?
I don't do that.
Or, that's right. And so that way she knows and it's there. Because if it's past those 10 days, obviously you need an addendum, right? But make sure that you put the notes in. Brokerman, you can email very quickly and just make sure you keep her updated. She's the one that needs to be updated with all of them.
Yes.
And then also, if you are starting a transaction.
Yes, there's different types of transactions. So when you first start, everything that is a listing or a purchase is going to start as a consultation. That means I'm beginning to work with this person. I do not have an active listing in the MLS, and I do not have a ratified contract. The status of that consult will be listing. Listing means active. Pending means under contract. So if you can kind of do them correctly as far as what type. Rental showings for finder's fee, there is a transaction type of finder's fee. I've been changing and moving a lot of them to the proper category. We've also created a training type of transaction. So if you're going in there and you want to learn the system and play around, you just pick that it's training and we won't mess with it. We're all good there. If you have a lot of old transactions that are junk, you never wrote a contract, you never completed a listing, it's not going anywhere, email me the name of the transaction and ask me to cancel it. And we'll clean all those out. All right?
Is there anything else that you can think of right now?
No, I think that's it till.
Do you want to just go over the hours one more time for the office? Because we had a little bit of a confusion for that.
Okay, office hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I leave at 1:30 on Fridays. And so,
Caitlin's there, but Carla leaves at 1:30.
Right. So Caitlin is there. Key fobs do not work before 9 o'clock. They do not work after 5 o'clock. Friday, you are cut off at 4. Your fobs will not set the alarm. So if it's 5 o'clock and Caitlin's ready to go, you need to get out. Because the girl's got to go home and she needs to turn the alarm on.
Yay.
She always had them, just so y'all know.
Yeah.
They were just down there really.
Carla, I have a question. Carla, I have a question. I have been
Sure.
practicing and I have many transactions in my computer, like 12. And I changed the status in my computer from my transactions to withdrawn. Can you see that? Or I have to send you the list of properties I have, you know, 12 of them. So been practicing.
Okay. All right. If you're talking about Instinet, where you go in through Rain MLS, I have nothing to do with those. Those are just
I
being
see.
withdrawn. Okay.
Okay,
Brokerment, I can clear out, but Instinet, I cannot. Okay.
okay. I'll send you the list because I have been in both sides trying to figure out how it works. So I'll send you the whole list.
Well,
Thank you.
eventually you'll be doing everything in Brokerment, so you won't have to worry about Instinet.
Okay,
But your mentors are your first contact and they can help you with that. They know a lot more tricks of the trade in Instinet than I do.
okay, I will. Jordan is great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Any more questions? No? Okay. Bye.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm just going to check the chat real quick. And then Lucy, you're up next, just so you know. All right. So how do I delete the old transactions in Brokerment? Hey, Miranda, you can't, Carla can, but make sure you get with your mentor and then you'll be able to see which ones, and then you can send those to Carla and she'll take them out for you, darling.
Yeah, she already had explained to it before when I typed it in, so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. No worries. All right. And Jen just said thank you. All righty. So Lucy, where is my bippity boppity boo?
I'm hiding.
Lucy. Hi, there you are. There
Hi.
you are. Hi. Hi, Lucy.
Hello.
I miss you. I miss you. We don't get to talk much because we're both extremely busy because you all are extremely busy. So I miss hearing her. All right, guys, I'm gonna let Lucy have the floor, and then we're gonna have some vendors speak, and then we're gonna have kudos for birthdays and things like that. So Lucy, you have the floor, love.
I don't have much. I do want to piggyback on Carla and say that when you have a transaction and you're working out the deals on your purchase and you're back and forth and you're pretty sure you've worked it out, but it's not a ratified deal, please do not submit partial transaction documents. I know you've got your ACUs signed because that was in the MLS and your buyer has signed it. I know you've got your DPOR signed, you've got your lead-based paint signed, but when you submit just those 3 documents and then the rest of the stuff trickles in, it really causes a lot of confusion. So please wait until you have a ratified contract, all your documents are signed and ready for submission before you actually submit anything in Brokerment. Now obviously you want your buyer documents first, and you've got a separate checklist for that. So as soon as those are signed, please send them in, but do not send partial contract documents because anything can change. People sleep in between signatures and stuff. So things can happen and it really messes with the system, and it makes it really hard for me to make sure that all of the documents are where they need to be and we've reviewed all of them. My brain just doesn't work in pieces like that. So if you would help me keep my brain functioning at a smooth and happy level, I would really appreciate it. Other than that, does anybody have any questions? We don't really have anything new going on right now. And things seem to be moving pretty smoothly. So that makes me very happy.
Wow, y'all, Lucy had one
item. Y'all, kid, you realize Lucy had one item? Y'all are killing it. Good job. Hey, pat yourself up. Good job.
Absolutely.
Good job. Good job. So it makes me happy. It makes Lucy happy. You know, we're here. We're here for you guys. Your mentors are too. The mentors have helped so much. You guys, the mentors, I don't even know how they function. They don't get any sleep. We have 3 of, oh, Kara says it's lots of coffee. We've got a vodka bottle by the coffee though. So it's they have been amazing, and they're also the top producers of The Office as well. So, you know, between Lucy, the mentors, and the team leaders that we have here right now, I mean, you guys are really killing it. You're jumping in, you're helping everybody. I'm so proud of you. I really am. Honestly, in 16 years, and I don't say this lightly, this is the best group of agents I have ever the best group of agents I've ever had. And I mean that with all my heart. You guys have been amazing. So we have a lot more people coming up. We have 3 mentors also in training right now. If you are interested in being a mentor, you have to have at least 20 transactions in the last year. If you want to be a mentor assistant, you have to be outside of your mentor program, and you have to have a background in management for right now. So if you want to apply for that, please text or email me separately. Don't put it in the chat, but text or email me separately. We are happy to talk to you about that and interview you to see if you would be a good fit, because we are in need of some more mentors right now. And then anyone who wants to start up a team or is interested in that, we're also going to have a meeting to talk about teams and how to do that in May. So look for that as well. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we have a mandatory mentee meeting for all the mentees to come in. It's mandatory. It happens once a year. It's one of the only things that I ever make mandatory. And it is because we have to give you guys some great information and really go through some hard conversations about how real estate has been, where it's going, and what's happening with it right now. So that's tomorrow, 10 a.m. and it is in person in Norfolk, and it is the only at Norfolk Gather. It's the only one that I ever require, and again, it's just once a year. So, I mean, that's not too much. Ask the other brokerages. I mean, just once a year requirement. You guys aren't even required to come to this meeting, but y'all do because it's amazing. We give all kinds of info. I also want to dive into some of the vendors that are here. I'm going to play Tina's video first, and then Tina, you'll just make your way over here because you'll talk here so they can see you. But let's, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see Tina's video that she has, and then she's going to talk first and foremost. Let's get, maybe. Oh. Well, I did have it. Hold on. It must have timed out. Unfortunately, that's okay. Sorry, Tina, my Outlook timed out, so we're gonna just pull it up here 1 second. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. We're early though. We're at 10:40, so we are making good time.
When it comes to home warranties, getting the best contractor can be tough. That's because traditional home warranties limit your choices. Achosa Home Warranty has the answer. Achosa Home Warranty believes homeowners should be empowered to choose the licensed contractor of their choice for each repair or replacement project. When you select Achosa, you are assured of prompt, reliable work to restore your home. As one of the country's leading home warranty companies, Achosa Home Warranty has set the industry standard for their claims process and performance. Here's how it works. Call customer service at 888-509-2916. And they will file your service request, discuss your coverage, and give you a service request number. Now it's time to schedule a local contractor of your choice to come to your home and diagnose the problem. If you don't have a contractor in mind, You can ask for a list of highly recommended contractors in your area. Once your contractor has diagnosed the problem prior to the repair, call Achosa back and we will talk to you and your contractor. Determine the approved dollar amount of the service request, and you can then authorize your contractor to perform the work. Once the work is completed to your satisfaction, call Achosa back. This is when we make payment to your contractor. Achosa Home Warranty is proud to serve all of its realtor and homeowner communities and looks forward to making a difference in homeowners' lives. For more information, please visit achosahw.com.
All right, can you, when you sit down, if you don't mind, if you can explain to everybody the difference in Achosa and other, yeah, because we have a lot of new people that have joined us, and I personally think it's amazing. So I've had home warranty for years. I mean, I can't remember when I started home warranty, probably 20 years ago. Having home warranty on my rentals and on my personal home. My home's in West Virginia. Like I just do. To me, it's always paid off. There's always something that goes wrong with the home, and it always pays for itself. I've received free ACs. I mean, not free, but you're paying monthly. But honestly, I mean, I have a double unit AC. I have a 5,000 square foot home, so you can imagine how big the AC unit is. And I did a little upgrade, so I ended up paying $300. But I mean, who does that? Like, you know how much that costs. Yeah. You know, so and then I have it on my rental properties too. But Tina has went to Achosa, and I have always been with Tina. She's actually worked at other
Just one. I'm not a jumper.
She's not. I was going to say that. She's worked at other home warranty companies that she's very well versed in it. And this is the only one I know of that is like this. So I really want you to understand the difference in it. So for those of them that don't really even know home warranty, if you don't mind just doing the basics, even though most of us kind of know, but there's a lot of them that don't.
Yeah. So I'll just start with the basics. A home warranty is designed to help offset the cost of repairs and replacements due to normal wear and tear in the home. So I always talk about the acronym of PEACH, which is your plumbing, your electrical, the appliances, the pool, and the heating. Okay. We're not blinds. We're not cracks in the driveway. We're not the fogged window. It's the major systems and appliances in the home. And it has to be due to normal wear and tear. And the reason I stress that is, number one, every home warranty company is the same. It's due to normal wear and tear. But there are things that can happen in a home that aren't from normal wear and tear. The child flushes the truck down the Tonka, flushes the Tonka truck down the toilet, and they get a clog. That's not normal wear and tear. The lightning strikes the outside part unit of the HVAC system. That's not normal wear and tear. Okay. So it has to be due to normal wear and tear. That's the first thing. What makes us different, and I'll just, and you can research it, but we are one of two non-traditional home warranty companies out there. Okay. One.
Tell them what non-traditional.
So everybody else out there, all your other warranty companies are traditional, meaning they have a network of providers. Your client calls, files a claim. They get assigned a contractor. That contractor schedules with the homeowner. Whenever they can get out there, they come out there. Then they work with the home warranty company in regard to what's covered, what they're going to be paid, and for the warranty company to order the equipment. Okay, that's what a traditional home warranty company is. We are non-traditional. We empower the homeowner to use their own licensed contractors for repairs and replacements. So what that does is that takes a normal claim that can be anywhere from 7 to 3 months, right? Because by the time the contractor comes out, by the time they've given the information to the warranty company, by the time the warranty company has ordered the parts and equipment, because they order it wholesale, and then the contractor can come back out and schedule. Typical turnaround time is seven days, but it can be 3 months, right? Because they're waiting on the warranty company. For us, they're using their local contractors who have local supply houses where they get their parts. So a couple things. One, it speeds the time up, because if they have the part on the truck, they can fix it and get them back up running. If they don't and they have to go to the supply house, they go to the supply house, right? So it makes that time, but it also keeps the claim dollars local. And what better time in this world is it now to try to keep as much money local as we can and keep our local contractors employed and treated like they want to be treated, not at a negotiated rate, not telling them what can be covered. The other thing that people don't realize is, for those that have been in the real estate industry for a while or understand warranties, agents have been trained. I did this. I worked for a company for 8 years before I left. Traditional. Agents are trained to look at caps and say, we're going to go with this company because this company pays the most when it comes to heating, cooling, usually the water heater. Those are the three things that people really get concerned about. What they don't go into, the traditional warranty companies, not because they're being secretive, not because they're trying to be sneaky, but because they honestly don't know, is non-covered charges, what that amount goes to, right? So we are really transparent. We tell them exactly what the cap is, if there's any exclusions, right when the claim is filed, so there's no surprises on the back end, and they already know. Plus, they get to make the decision that's best for them. If they want to go repair or replacement and take the repair cost and apply it to the replacement, they have that option. Traditional home warranty companies don't allow you to do that. So it's a much better, seeing the feedback and the claims that have come through just since I changed over in July has been amazing. I don't think people really realized, because obviously not 100% of claims come back with issues, right? But that 5% of homeowners that has an issue with a claim, who do they call first? They call the agent. Why did you recommend? Or how can you help me? I don't get those calls. It is amazing, which means if I'm not getting the calls, because I got the calls.
She used to always get the calls.
So if
especially from me.
So if I was getting the call, that means the agent was already involved, right? Not because the homeowner called me, because the homeowner typically didn't have my number right away until I told the agent to give it to them. So if you think about, if I'm not getting the calls, who else isn't getting the calls? You all as agents. Right. So it's huge. It's a great referral base because of the fact that we are feeding into our local network. And if you're recommending a local HVAC contractor that's doing a great job, that HVAC contractor, when he's talking to somebody about selling, who's he thinking about? It's a reciprocal, right? So this model really, really is changing the industry. And I am just glad that I got to come in on the ground floor here, because now I get to watch it grow just like I did with my previous company. But we're just so different.
I mean, she's helping grow it and build it. Like that's what I love, because she has so much knowledge and she's very close with the owners, and she's helping to grow and mold it into what not to do. Yeah. And that is what makes me happy. Like, I'm super excited about that. Do you have anything for listings I didn't know about?
Yeah, so we do free listing coverage.
So that means, so for those of you that don't understand, so some home warranties, they will put listing, like they'll give you a home warranty for the duration of the listing, right? So if you have a listing, you get a free home warranty with it, with certain aspects. They say free, but they're not always free, because there's certain things that need to be paid at closing. Sometimes it's very minimal, but she's going to go through her. So if you have a listing, you can get this service put onto your listing, no matter where it's at, as long as it's in our MLS, right?
Yep. As long as it's in Virginia.
Yeah.
We're not licensed in North Carolina yet. I'm working it. He knows I'm losing business left and right. So they're working on it. But North Carolina is a hard state to get into.
It is.
So, I mean, obviously those that are licensed there know it's not just a walk in the park. Mm-hmm. It's not a walk in the park for us to get licensed either. So, but it is on the list. It is coming sooner than later. I was hoping by second quarter, but I think it's going to be more like third quarter.
And I know y'all don't have a lot of listings right now, but she'll go through exactly what.
So my first question is when you take a listing, especially in this market, typically it's under contract pretty quick, right? So I think that's why agents are not utilizing. This is a free service for your clients. Okay. We don't even charge to add the HVAC during the listing like my competitors do. Okay. So if you take a listing, and I don't care if you think I'm going to put this, it's going to go live on Friday. I'm going to have 26 offers. We're going to be ratified by Monday. I don't need a warranty because it's going to sell. Typically that house doesn't close for how many days? 30 days to 30 to 45 days. Anything can happen from the time it goes listed to the time that it closes.
I'm telling you, this has happened more often than none, because we've always put listing. In the past, I've always had the admin add the listing, but you guys can add it here at Keller Williams. But I've always put it on there, and more times than none, this is what has happened. I mean, I can't even tell. It's been so many times, I don't even have a count. the listing goes live, and either within the first week or the first week and a half, there's a water break somewhere, right? And it's flooded, and it's like, oh my gosh, now what, right? We can't continue. Yeah, you can, because the Chosen is going to come out and fix it all because it's under the home warranty. All you have to pay is a deductible, right?
Yes, but let me go through, because I don't want you to think that I'm a set the right expectation person. I'm gonna be super transparent with you. We give $1,000 worth of coverage during the listing.
Yep.
That might not sound like a lot, but that's $1,000 that we're pretty much giving away at no cost to us, because there is no obligation for the seller to purchase it for the buyer.
Yep.
Okay. Now,
it does sound like a lot. I will promise you, it is a lot, because there's a lot of things that most of the things that'll happen would have happened anyway, and they would have paid for the whole thing. Don't forget
that's
that.
right. So, and then what I'm really seeing is, because something happened at walkthrough, now you've got nervous Nelly buyer that's not quite sure they want to close, and the buyer's agent's asking for a warranty, because if the water heater is now leaking, what else is going to go wrong, right? So that history then will transfer. The seller pays $575 at closing if they decide to give it to the buyer, if it gets negotiated in. Okay. If they don't use it, they lose nothing. If they don't negotiate, they don't lose nothing. But it is definitely a peace of mind. I tell listing agents all day long, put it on every single listing you have. The worst thing that's going to happen is in 6 months, you're going to get an email from me that says, by the way, has this home closed?
And what about something that comes up on inspection?
So if something comes up on the home inspection and it's eligible for coverage, and the reason I say that is, we know home inspectors put lots of things on the home inspection that's not a warranty related item, okay? The biggest thing I see is the house is built in whatever day, there's not GFCIs in the bathroom, but now they're required. That is not an eligible item because it's not already there. But that GFCI was there and it's not working, that's an eligible item, okay? So yes, if it's something that comes up and it's eligible for coverage, yes, we can file a claim. And then the other good thing is because they're using their own contractors, if it happens the day before walkthrough, do you think that the closing is going to get delayed? No. Traditional home warranty companies, because you got to wait on their contractor, I can tell you of at least a dozen situations where I was on the phone begging and pleading and trying to find a contractor so the closings weren't delayed.
What if it is something
Doesn't matter, has to be covered by that.
Yeah, it has to be an eligible item under the warranty before it says.
Yeah, and here's on the back of this, there's some, yeah.
Okay, so can we ask you a question?
Yeah.
So if somebody bought a house already, they paid in cash and didn't get insurance or home warranty, can they still get it, and up until what point?
Yeah, you're thinking of, okay, so you're thinking of homeowner's insurance versus a home warranty. You could put home warranty on a home at any time. Homeowner's insurance is completely different. That's with an insurance company.
Yeah, so I'm saying, so for this, can this be added later?
You
for a
can.
brand-
So
Yeah.
you can add a warranty even after closing. Okay, couple things. Number one, if it's after closing and we're outside of 30 days, they're going to have a 30-day waiting period. Okay, if it's within 30 days, there's no waiting period. Keep in mind, if they opted not to get the warranty because they were trying to save money or whatever, and the water heater started leaking, we're not adding a warranty to cover the water heater that's already leaking. That's a pre-existing condition. That's insurance fraud. We don't participate in it. Okay. If you have a client that has had a warranty and they're unhappy for whatever reason, and they change from that company to our company, there's no 30-day waiting period. If they go through closing, it becomes effective day of closing. Keep in mind, and this is something I see so much, unfortunately, buyers that are saying no to a home inspection are walking into craziness, right? With their insurance and with the warranty. Because if you don't have something showing that it's in proper working order and it fails on day one, it's a good chance it's going to be denied. So I am a huge advocate. If you have buyers that are saying, I'm going to waive home inspection because I really want this contract, advise against it. Informational purposes, I know I'm seeing all kinds of things about that, but at least have them do a service on the HVAC system with the receipt showing it's in proper working order. Because that's the biggest ticket item in the house And if it fails on day one and there's nothing showing that it's working, I'm going to help what I can, but I can promise you it's not going to be a dent to the cost of the
All right, so I'm gonna have to stop on the questions just because we're gonna run out of time, but that's
Yeah.
okay. She's getting ready to type in the chat. She's gonna put her info in here. She's also on our Facebook as well. Go ahead and type that in there. And then Robbie, go ahead, Robbie, you're up next. Make sure you guys contact her if you have any more questions though. I had to cut it off because we have a couple more vendors. Robbie,
Good morning.
go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Where's my camera?
Good morning, Robbie.
There we
We
go.
can-
Good morning,
Robbie. We can hear you.
There we go. Hey, I just wanted to give everybody an industry update. This goes for any of you guys and gals that work with investors out there. Don't know if you've heard what the new changes are in our industry, but this is a very good tidbit. This is coming down from Fannie and Freddie, which is our two largest loan servicers that us as lenders sell our loans to. What this means is they've come down and they're tightening the guidelines for us to be able to do loans for people buying investment properties and or second homes. They both follow under the same cap. They are limiting all lenders to 7% of our loans that we do in the year. So it's a rolling 12 months. So, you know, after April comes off, it'll fall off and it'll be the next 12 months. Does that make sense? So the max that we can have is 7% of the amount of loans that we do can be investment properties and or second homes. So for smaller shops out there, it's really going to hurt them because if they don't do the amount of business like Atlantic Bay does, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble and not going to be able to help your clients out. So keep that in mind. If you work with investors, not cash investors that are flipping homes, but people that are building portfolios to buy investment properties and your second home clients as well. This is a huge hit. And, you know, our higher ups are still fighting legislation and trying to see what they can do to stop it. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So just keep that in mind. Anybody have any questions on that, what that means? I know it's, what is printers? Oh, that's not me, that question. So just like I said, keep that in mind.
No, I think that is you, Robbie. I think she wants to know what percentage was it before they made it 7?
Oh, there was no percentage. There was no percentage. This just came down the pipe the first of this month, last Monday, actually.
And Adam wants to know, will it impact hard money lenders?
No, sir. That has nothing to do with the regular lending side.
Thank you.
They don't follow, the hard money lenders don't follow the same rules as we do because they're not governed by anybody.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else have any other questions? So just make sure you guys and gals keep that in mind, you know, when your clients are getting pre-approved with whoever you use. Hopefully you're using me, but just keep that in mind that, you know, smaller shops are going to have a harder time. And what that means when I say they're going to have a harder time, they're going to be limited on the amount of business they're going to be able to do. So we may not be able to do anything in May, but we may be able to do something, you know, in June when April falls off or May falls off. So it's, you know, we're running a really tight rope. And the other thing is all lenders have adjusted their rates. So the rates have gone up about 1/2 to almost 3/4% for investment loans as well. So they're really trying to price the investor market out of buying properties. It really stinks.
Any other questions, guys? All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Robbie. Cameron, did
Thank
you want to
you.
say something about your wine tasting? I know you were trying to get some people together for it and then kind of switched it around to possibly virtual.
Yeah, I do have a couple things. Well, first of all, on Thursday, I just posted in the Facebook group, there's a state of social media Zoom webinar.
Oh, nice.
So it's not just strictly one social media platform or another. It's going to be everything, new social trends, emerging platforms to watch. And this will all be specific to our industry. So you definitely want to see all the new things that are going on there. And about the wine tasting. So we do have a minimum of 15 people that we have to pay for. So I'd love to do it in person at your office if you'd like to do that. We can have them, the Mermaid Winery log on and do his piece. But if
I was thinking we could do it at Norfolk Gather, have a room and do it at Norfolk Gather. We just need to get the 15 people, you guys need to respond to her and let her know that we have 15 people because her and I only make 2, even though we may seem like we're 5 people each. We only make 2. So we have to have another 13. So if you guys could just let her know and then we can come up with a date and I can schedule the room.
Yep, absolutely. We would love to do that.
Anything else, guys, on that? All right, I'm gonna let Jimmy come up. Jimmy, you can come over here. So I want you to show the book that we're gonna have in our office. And, go ahead, Jimmy.
How is everybody?
We have some new agents, so if you can introduce yourself again, just because
Sure.
they haven't seen you in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm Jimmy Richards. I work with Movement Mortgage, and I'm a loan officer, and I'm super excited to be here. We sat down, my whole team, and we were like, what is something we could do going into Q2 would really bring value to what the agents in our area are doing? And the one thing that kept coming up was like education. Like when I would ask agents that we're working with, like, what do you need? I think it's no secret, lenders are really good at buying drinks. So I think y'all are good on drinks. But everybody kind of said the same thing. They were like, we really just want to learn. We want to know more. So we got together with a guy named Tim Duncan, who's a very incredible guy. He's built a incredibly huge book of business on the real estate side and the mortgage lending side over a 30-year career. And he knows a ton of people. So he helped us we actually got 2 KW agents who are on the curating team, a couple loan officers, and a bunch of other folks just in and out of the industry, home warranty companies, insurance reps, contractors. And so basically they're helping us curate these books, their magazines. This is supposed to be me. I think I'm more handsome than the caricature, but
It's the bunny.
yeah, it's the bunny ears. But they're seasonal. So April this month, Easter. But we're gonna start delivering these to the office. They're free resource for you. It's got mailer tips. It's got social media tips. It's got prospecting tips. It also has scheduling tips. Because a lot of people are like, when you make the big decision to commit to real estate full time, it's the same for a loan officer. One of the first things is you're like, what do I do with my day? Like you're not 9 to 5 anymore. Like you're your own boss. You have to figure out like, how do I get the most value out of my day? And then there's also the struggle of once you do start producing and once you do start really doing business, everybody falls into the pitfall of my work is running my life, my business, I'm working in it, not on it. So there are tips in here from some of the highest producers in the country on how they navigate some of those issues. And then simpler stuff too, like what to post on social media that won't cause a fight, that will bring eyes to your profile so that people know, hey, I'm a real estate agent. And then the thing that I love the most is really good advice on how to get listings. Because like how many loan officers are like, hey guys, we would really love to work with you.
Yeah.
Where's the referral? But that's not really having skin in the game. So like we made the decision, we're like, if we're really gonna help agents prospect, we gotta care about sellers just as much as we do buyers, because if there are homes to buy, everyone's doing good. So you guys will see these around the office. Like Thomasine and I already had a conversation, so we're gonna start delivering these. If you don't have an opportunity to get them at the office, you're always welcome to shoot me an email. I will mail it to your house. So this is hopefully it's on the.
You're gonna type your info right there, just
Okay.
like Tina did, and we're gonna get those every month. There's a different magazine each month, so we're gonna have them at the Hilltop office, and we're gonna have them here at the Norfolk Gather. You can pick them up each month when they come in, and I'll email it out saying, hey, this is in. I read through it yesterday. I thought it was great. It was really wonderful, and the fact that KW had a part in it just made my heart happy. So when I heard about it, I mean, it was like an immediate thing. I was like, oh my gosh, this has to happen. And so now here's Jimmy and here's the magazine, and y'all get it. And it's thanks to him. And most of you in here have seen Jimmy because he's been with us for quite some time. But this is something that he's trying to change the way lenders communicate and deliver information to agents, which is what I've always wanted. I want more of an educational presentation and friendship, and to be that person that he already answers his phone, he already does it, but I wanted more. I wanted more of an education for these new agents, or even for our tenured agents in different areas. And that booklet, I mean, it's a thick booklet. There's a lot in there. So even people that have teams or mentors who have the mentees, they can actually take this, save it, because you can give the copies to the next group that comes in, and you can just keep passing it down. It's really good. It's a good read. You good?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. And then I'm going to pass this one around. He's ordered us ones for April, but I'll just pass this around for you guys to see it. And then we're just going to wrap up with some kudos. So first and foremost, we had a lot of agents that had their clients do reviews and be able to give them all. It was really great. So I always make it, put it on Facebook, but I wanted to recognize it here too. So if you ever have a client that gives you a review, you just have to copy and paste the review in an email to me. Make sure that it's copy and pastable for me to make it, right? Because I don't want to retype the whole thing. And then I make these. So we had one for Samantha. So Samantha, congratulations, client testimonial. We had one for Una. Una's killing it, guys. Like, she's brand new and she is just rocking and rolling. I am so proud of that girl. She is doing great. She's out of her mentorship. She's already got 2 more closings down. It's crazy town for her. Kara had not 1, not 2, not 3. Girl had 4 of them, 4, and she just got an award for, she just got an award with HomePath for them they sent her this award about how she had all these reviews. So if y'all don't have HomePath and you didn't sign up for the $100 a year right now, Kara will, HomeSnap. I said HomePath. Because we were talking about Fannie Mae. HomeSnap, for those of you that don't know what that means, you could just sit there wondering, the rest of you can just laugh at me. HomeSnap, if you don't have HomeSnap, then make sure that you go on there and sign up for it. It's really good. It's $100 a year right now, introductory, and you can utilize a lot of the tools on there. Yeah, all the top agents in there are shaking their head like, yeah.
It's changed.
Yeah.
Just the whole dynamic.
Yeah, it's really, I even have it. I don't even buy her stuff. I have it because I'm nosy. But anyways, that was Kara. So we're going to get her to give me a moment while I remove all the testimonials for Kara. And then Jordan had one as well. So congratulations, ladies. Those are lovely. I'd love to have some men up here with some testimonials, which would be great. We had a few people come to our office. I don't know if y'all can even see my screen. I keep popping them up, but let me move over again. Hopefully you can see it now. So Vasuda, she's here. She's brand new with us. She's not new to the industry though, but she is new with us, and she has come. So welcome home. And Nikki Munesh brought her in. So Nikki Munesh, please pick out a bottle of wine today, which would be great. Kara has Anne-Marie. So Anne-Marie is not here today, but she's also new with us. And Kara, please pick out a bottle of wine today as well. Anissa, she's on here. Anissa, if you're gonna mute and just say hi. She is with us. She just passed her license. She is brand new, and Samantha has brought her on. So Sam, I know you're not here with us, but if you could just swing by one of the offices, either Gather or you can swing by the Hilltop office and get yourself some wine. And then Elijah brought on a gentleman last night. We don't have my picture yet because it was just last night, but Elijah, the same. If you want to swing by Gather at the Hilltop office, grab yourself a bottle of wine. So congratulations to all the new agents that have come on board. We're super excited to have you and welcome home. The birthdays that we have Brian O'Donnell's birthday. We have Una's birthday this month. She was the first one. Jessica Renda's birthday this month. And then we also have Lauren Medina's birthday this month. So we have a cake here, which is really heavy. This is the heaviest cake in the world. When y'all eat this, you're gonna gain 25 pounds. All right, but it's beautiful. So anyway, there's a, let's see if you can see it. Happy birthday there. I know y'all scared. You can see everyone's face. For sure, they thought I was stuffing that right on my computer. I am a professional birthday cake holder. All right, so we have this. We're gonna sing happy birthday really quick. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lauren, Jessica, Una, and Brian. Happy birthday to you. All right, and Jordan Hoskins is the only April work anniversary. What? That's crazy town. One person. But of course, it had to be the teacher's pet that's by herself. So happy work anniversary of 1 year at KW. But how many years have we been together, Joe? Yeah, we're almost at 7. That's okay. You'll remember next time. It's fine. I'm not hurt. So we're at 7 years together. It's fine. And so she's been 1 year though with us here at KW. And now for the final drum roll. Congratulations, Kara, on units as closing agent of the month. Congratulations, Kara, as closing agent by volume as well. Congratulations, Jordan, listing agent of the month by units and listing agent of the month by volume. Congratulations to Jean, commercial agent of the month by volume and units. Congratulations to Manesh and Nikita Holmes team for top listing by units. Congratulations to Manesh and Nikita Holmes team for top listing of the month by volume. Congratulations to Team Rockstar for top closing team of the month by units. And congratulations to Manesh and Nikita Holmes for top closing team of the month by volume. Round of applause, everybody. Those are your rock stars. All right, I'm going to close in prayer and then that's it. All right, so Lord, thank you so much for everyone here. Thank you for the wonderful production that each one of them have in their life, whether it be business, home, or both. Thank you so much for opening their hearts and making them such wonderful people for us. I just want to pray for anyone that is traveling right now or anyone that's getting ready to travel. I pray for any sickness that needs to be healed and for those that are healthy to keep them healthy. I pray for Susan Walker that she has a recovery quick and smooth as she's been on my heart for quite some time now. And then I also pray that you will continue on in every aspect of our business, because Lord, this business is for you and we do everything for you and we give it to you. It's in your name we pray. Amen. I love you all and I will see you either in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Newport News, or at Hilltop, Virginia Beach as well. You guys have a great day. Love you. Bye.